to work. It is Tuesday evening. I think I got the date right on everything here. January 20th, 2026. Waiting for Twitch to catch up, and I believe we are going to be live here on YouTube as soon as I double check to make certain that everything is working properly. And it looks like we are, and we have audio excellent, and we don't have any extra audio excellent, which we had a problem with earlier on here, so that appears to be working. Sorry, I'm just rubber ducking the checklist as I go along. When you are cameraman, audio, director, producer for everything, you want to make certain everything is working properly on here. So, all right, that's it. I think we are live. Everything appears to be working. So first of all, welcome to everybody who is tuning in tonight online. This is our semi-regular, due to other technical difficulties, weather blog, coming to you live online, direct from Chattanooga, Tennessee, southeastern United States, downtown Chattanooga specifically. I am Chief Meteorologist Austen Onek. Email address at the bottom portion of the screen if anybody has any questions or otherwise on there. If you do have questions about what we're talking about tonight, again, which is winter weather, and if you take a look again at what we're expecting, it's going to be Friday night through about early Sunday, to where we could be looking at the potential for a pretty good sized winter storm to be heading our way. If you have questions, please drop them into the comments section. Again, we are live and direct on both our station YouTube page and also on my particular solo Twitch channel, keeping you updated with what's going on with the weather. And again, this is a very changeable situation. It could be something very serious. There are signs way ahead of an advance of the potential of what could be a fairly strong winter storm coming through the area. Again, we'll talk about the ideas about what's going on with this coming up here in just a little bit, just giving you an idea as to what is happening for right now, which is not much, and that's the good news. So we'll start off again with a little bit of good information. Let's give you a quick check again of the school forecast going into very early tomorrow. It's going to be a brisk one tomorrow. My wife doesn't have car rider line duty in the morning, but does in the morning coming up on Friday. That could be a bit of an issue. So starting the school day off, it is going to be very brisk, a bit of a wind chill. Winds will not be that breezy, but they will be, again, picking up throughout the rest of the day. Temperatures by dismissal time will be on the mild side. So that, again, tomorrow, there's nothing going on outside of a few showers late in the afternoon. Showers again on Thursday and early on Friday before the temperatures start to head downwards. And then we start to have our own little problems coming up into the near future. It's quiet downtown. This is a view of downtown Chattanooga. You're looking off to the south and west. The lights up on top of Lookout Mountain that you see here. That's State Highway 27, and back over this direction, you can kind of see the lights of Interstate 24 as it goes through the Moccasin Bend area on the north flank of Lookout Mountain. It's very quiet. It's very, very dry. Wildfire danger is at a higher level thanks to the fact that we've got such dry air across much of the region. The visibility is good tonight as well. Again, travel, no problems at all being seen for the time being. You're overlooking the roof of the public library downtown, and again off to the southwest where we usually have some pretty good sunsets taking place. Beautiful one tonight, no question about that. And into the next couple of days, this may be a much different view. We'll talk about that coming up here in just a little bit. Current conditions, we are just at this area right before 10 o'clock Tuesday evening. Temperature just below freezing, but take a look at that dew point temperature. This is bone dry air for this time of the evening. So we are looking at, again, good wildfire conditions out across portions of the area there. For anybody who's just joining us, we are live, again, coming to you from downtown Chattanooga. And if you have any questions about what's going on out there, please drop them into the comments section. That, again, will give us an idea as to who's checking in and from where. Just like Betty Smith, 4641, on YouTube. Do you think it will be as bad as the one we had in 2015? There are signs that we could be looking at some pretty potent amounts of weather. Now, whether or not it equals that particular storm, that's going to be a little bit iffy, and I really hesitate to say anything for right now. Because of the fact that we are still so far out. Again, winter weather forecasting is its own little particular science, and if you've never tried winter weather forecasting yourself, I really highly urge you to give it a try. So again, thanks to everybody for checking in on this. Betty Smith, stay tuned. We'll take a better look at that forecast information for you coming up here in just a little bit. But if you have questions, Twitch in the stream chat and in the chat function on YouTube, drop your comments in there and we will talk about that as we go along. But for right now, again, things are quiet and decently dry. This next map I'm going to give you is a ginormous mess. This is basically everything all at once. So I just want everybody to kind of get an idea as to what we're dealing with. This starts, again, Thursday at 9 o'clock. Nor'easter coming in well north of the News 12 viewing area as we get into and around the area close to Thursday night. This area, again, will be affected by the passage of a quick-moving storm system. This particular area will not give us anything in the way of major problems. It's what follows afterwards from this next system coming on through. Now, keep in mind, what you're going to be looking at here is a combination of snow in the blue, freezing rain in the purple, and sleet, ice pellets in the pink kind of magenta colors as we go along. So let's go forward on the time frame to Friday about early to mid-afternoon, right before sunset. And again, you'll start to see this is going to be just like a Jackson Pollock painting in just a little bit. You're going to be seeing all these different things on here. We'll separate them as we go along, so stay with me on this as we take a look at this particular possibility here. Again, blue is showing the beginning of snowfall, the possibility of freezing rain in the purple, and in the pink, that's where we may see the combination of sleet pellets mixed in with that. And notice again in this very narrow corridor, this is the earlier one, this is the later one. This is the Friday night and following mess that's coming our way by about sunset just to our west, moving across the Mississippi River. Now we'll go forward in time slowly as we get into this. So let's go to about, say, midnight Saturday. Now keep in mind, again, blue snow, purple freezing rain, and very light amounts of orangish pink right there. That's sleet. So that dividing line between nothing but snow and a combination of snow, sleet, freezing rain looks to be sitting just south of Interstate 40 as we go again into and around the area coming up as we get toward about midnight on Saturday. That is where we're going to be seeing the best potential for this winter weather. Keep in mind also that where we are right now on Tuesday evening, this event is scheduled for Friday night. The closer we get, the more in focus things will become. But until then, there is still a very good fluctuation either way where it comes to both amounts and types of precipitation. That is the way these things work. Again, you want somebody to tell you exactly what you're going to get in your backyard. We'd love to do that, but we can't. It's not possible. With winter weather, a bit of moisture in one direction, dry air at another level, warm air at another level, and you're talking about variations in the forecast that cannot be predicted at this time. That's not making excuses. That's just telling it like it is. That is winter weather forecasting in a nutshell right there. So sometime Friday night into Saturday, the first wave of this moves on through. The inches that you see there, the ranges, that again is the snowfall potential. To make certain it's a little bit clearer here, we just kept the snowfall amounts on here. We'll take a look at the individual precipitation amounts coming up here in just a little bit, but this is just meant to give you an overall idea of what could be a pretty good mess heading our way. So Dawn Patrol Saturday, again right there we see the sleet, We see the freezing rain in purple and the heaviest amount of snow, again, roughly around I-40 from northeast Tennessee around Johnson City all the way back through the Mid-South, with the potential of some higher amounts out there. Now, these computer model numbers here, you're going to see these really as we go. Let's go ahead and go forward to Saturday night as those numbers really start to stack up, especially by about Sunday morning. Now, some of these numbers are much lower than what they were earlier. So this computer model is calling for 1 foot to 1.5 feet in Nashville, Roanoke, Charleston, back around portions of the Missouri Boot Heel, parts of southern Kentucky. I think we're going to get some pretty decent amounts of snow. I doubt right now that we're going to get that much because, again, we are this far out from everything. Getting closer in time, that will give us a better opportunity to say how much snow we're going to wind up with. This right here is a forecast that is writ very large. Again, I wish other weather outlets would focus on the fact that these things are flexible and changeable, and nailing down a forecast this early is just not a good idea at this point. But a very widespread area of sleet, a very widespread area, the purple underneath the sleet, again from Jackson, Mississippi to Birmingham, Alabama. If this holds true, right back around Atlanta from Saturday night to Sunday morning, if there is enough going on here, this could make travel next to impossible in some areas, including around Atlanta. So I would not be surprised to see a lot of these areas, if some of this, especially the sleet and the freezing rain, pan out. We could be looking at some major problems with travel across parts of the southeast United States. Add to that whatever you see falling on the ground here. Temperatures on the backside of this system, cold air sweeping in. As we get into the teens on Monday morning, a lot of this will be just basically locked in place. So I would not be surprised to see schools on Monday and Tuesday possibly around this particular area down, maybe give the potential of either some delayed openings Monday, Tuesday, or cancellations. The terrain around here is very varied, up and down in some locations, so it's a good possibility that we could see some not good traveling conditions starting late Friday and going again as this system sweeps out of the picture going into early Sunday. Now, that threat of winter weather pretty much just passes on out of the picture. Right now, this model is calling for, again, about 1 to 2 inches of snow for Chattanooga. That's snow. We'll take a look at sleet and freezing rain separately here in just a little bit, and then that's pretty much it. So this could wind up being the potential of a major winter scenario out there. Excuse me for a second. I've been fighting off a cold for the last few days, so unfortunately I've got what's left of that out there. Now, let's divide this up real quick so you can see a little bit more about what we're looking at. Snow first, again, Friday evening. That's where the snow really starts. And again, keep in mind, nothing else is on here, so we've divided everything up and left it out. But it looks like for right now, threading the needle from around Fort Smith, Arkansas, all the way back to just almost Chesapeake Bay in the D.C. area, that is where we could be looking again at the potential of the worst snow. But again, keep in mind, there's nothing to say that if this storm system down around the Gulf wobbles just a little bit, that snow amount could come down a little farther. We could also see dry air intrude. We could see more moisture, so we could see less snow, more snow. This right here is just a general suggestion, so be prepared for things to change. Now watch this again from Sunday morning. We go into Sunday afternoon, and that snow goes a little bit farther southward. As we get into Monday, everything dwindles and heads out of the picture, and that'll be it for the snowfall. But even though you are in North Alabama, North Georgia, there is the potential of getting some snow on top of anything in the way of sleet or freezing rain that has already come down, that lands on top of it, and that will create its own travel problems there as we go into, again, the rest of the forecast. All right, freezing rain. Again, temperatures at the surface need to be at or below freezing for that liquid rain, if it's warm enough just above the ground, to come down as liquid and freeze in on contact with the surface. So again, by Saturday midnight, we are already looking at the potential, according to this, of less than 1/10 of an inch, but it doesn't take much. A fraction of an inch, a couple hundredths of an inch of freezing rain could shut things down very well. And this just goes right on in to early parts of Sunday at midnight. Take a look at this. 1/4 of an inch of freezing rain possible. Macon, Atlanta, Starkville. Some of these areas right here could be looking at ugly, if not impossible, travel conditions. And this again goes into Sunday morning. Then that threat again leaves the area. Chattanooga proper, we could be looking, when all is said and done, of about 1/4 of an inch. That is the liquid rain freezing on contact, again for freezing rain purposes. Let's go ahead and get, I know I had it here someplace. Here we go. Let's take a look at sleet. Same computer model. Starting off again on Friday evening, that potential starts wandering its way through. Again, snow prevalent more to the north, to the south, freezing rain, and right as the temperatures freeze, that liquid water freezes as little pinheads of ice coming down as sleet pellets. Then we see, as we go into early Saturday afternoon, 1/10 of an inch, going up to nearly 2/10 of an inch as we get into early Sunday morning. Let me adjust the time frame on that and go forward into about Monday morning to see if there's anything left. And by Sunday night, yeah, we could be looking at almost 1/4 of an inch of sleet and freezing rain. So that's 1/2 an inch of ice with snow coming down on top of that. And again, these are just the models that we're looking at, again, several days out. This all could change by this time tomorrow. If the computer model starts seeing a ton more moisture coming up off the Gulf of Mexico, this is where we could really start to see some problems, again, with travel out there. These are just the main ones that we're looking at for models for right now. Let me show you what it looks like, again, when it comes to alerts. There really isn't a lot happening. North of us, we have a winter weather advisory for that potential system that is making its way through the upper Midwest, that Alberta Clipper that we're seeing going on through here. That is where we could see some potential problems in the Wabash Valley through about central Kentucky. Meanwhile, back to around the Mid-South, Little Rock, Fort Smith, Tulsa, Oklahoma City, Dallas, Shreveport. These are winter storm watches. This means that winter weather is possible within about 36 to 48 hours. These will be changed to winter storm warnings as this system comes on through. And this again will be the vanguard of what could be numerous watches and advisories coming up as we go throughout the next several days. So this system, as it gets more developed, will be again heading our direction pretty soon. So what exactly are we talking about with this system moving through? Right now, there's really nothing. There's high pressure and control. This is what it looks like right after 10 o'clock Tuesday evening as we talk to you live here on Weather Overtime. For those of you who are watching live, for those of you who are catching the repeat performance on our website, tune in for the next few days. I say many times that it's time to be weather aware. Really mean that because, again, this is the time of the year with both winter and severe weather possible that we need to be watching what goes on and observing and observant of what is happening. This system is what is tracking through the Midwest. This cold front will drag south down to the Gulf of Mexico, and then an area of low pressure as this makes its way down here will develop over the west and northwest Gulf of Mexico. Now let's go ahead and time things out for you for about, say, the next 72 hours. Again, it will kind of go flash forward here. Some rain Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday afternoon. The temperatures begin to cool off. As we get toward about sunset, we're going right at just below freezing. Rain to the south, snow where it's much colder and drier to the north, and that purple line right there, that's the potential of, again, freezing rain or sleet. That will be sticking around with us, and the cause of all this is right here. These storm systems can develop, and as they move along the Gulf of Mexico, they can take warm, moist air up off the Gulf of Mexico, dump it on top of this very cold air sitting in place, and that is where you can get these winter storms to really cause havoc. I saw something just like this happen in 1999 when I was working in Memphis. This type of storm system moved right through a very cold air mass over the southeast U.S., and it dropped enough moisture off the Gulf of Mexico to deliver a foot of snow from northeast Louisiana across Jackson, Mississippi. Got a foot, I think almost 13 inches of snow back in 99, and that went all across the southeast United States, but it was only in a line about like that. Anybody north and south of that line by almost 50 miles didn't pick up even so much as a snowflake. It was that tight a gradient. It was that precise of a system moving that quickly across the southeast U.S. So could that happen again? Yes, and it looks like that is the setup for right now as this system moves in and through. Now, going into the rest of the weekend, again, that's a lot of moisture being brought up off the Gulf over this. Take a look at some of these temperatures well below freezing across much of the southeast United States. And then as we clear things out into Monday, everything leaves. But by Monday morning, trying to get back to school or to work with temperatures in the 20s and teens, that's going to lock all that moisture down on the surface. And because it is so cold right now, and it's going to be pretty chilly in the next few days, the ground temperature could be cold enough to really hold on to that moisture. It could do a very good job of holding that ice in place. And here's something else to think about, that if we get enough snow and ice right in that corridor, once you get up to about like 4 to 5 inches of ice and snow, that mass of snowfall starts acting as its own refrigeration system. And unless the sun pokes through to like asphalt or cement and helps to warm things up from the sides and the underneath by heating that material up, a lot of that ice and snow will just stay right in place because it is so thick. It's going to take a lot of energy from the sun to melt all that, especially with temperatures like this dropping in Sunday night into Monday morning. So this has the potential of becoming a very big system. And again, as Betty Smith 4641 pointed out on YouTube, it is possible this could be like the one that was experienced in 2015. At least that's partially the way this is shaping up. So this is something to, number one, pay attention to. Number two, take seriously. Number three, be adaptable for, just to be on the safe side out there. And just let me remind you of a couple of things here, just if you haven't considered this. I grew up in Kansas, and this happened every single winter, no question about it. There was rarely a winter that we didn't go through that we did not have some form of big winter storm moving through. 77, 78, those were some nasty blizzards back then, and that snow lasted for weeks. It was incredible to see stuff like that. So just as, and again, as a suggestion from somebody who has been through this before personally, before this weather arrives, and if you have groceries to shop for, errands to run, stuff to do, whatever it is, I would get it done before the sun sets on Friday. That, again, is just a suggestion. Maybe you're more experienced in this weather than I am. Maybe you grew up in Alaska, so that's something you can handle. If so, take this information with a grain of salt. But in the meantime, get your car checked beforehand, fill the gas tank, make certain your tires are in good shape, be weather aware. If you are going to travel, be adaptable. Be flexible in your travel plans. If it looks like it's going to be really not great for travel and you don't have experience in doing this, I would postpone travel. And if you absolutely, totally have to travel during winter weather, I would call ahead to your destination and I would update them on the way if you are going to have to travel, if you absolutely must. But again, please remember that one of the best things you can do is reconsider on there, because if you don't have to travel, you should not If you can postpone, if you can alter your travel plans, rearrange meetings or time frames and stuff like that, and if you don't have to get out, don't do so. It just really is the best suggestion. You should be better off stuck at home than you would be stuck at the office and having to get back home again. If you do have to travel, again, stock your car, whatever vehicle you have, car, truck, van, with clothes, extra clothes to dry yourself off. If your clothes get wet and you get cold, that is almost a death sentence. That is not good news on there. Have extra food, pardon me for the light shine. For those of you on Twitch, you may not be able to see that. Clothes, food, and water. Make certain you have enough out there for maybe a week's time, just to be on the safe side. You can melt snow to drink it, but never eat snow. And the reason for that is if you put those ice crystals into your body, above freezing water you can drink to stay hydrated, but ice crystals will cool you off from the inside out and make certain you're colder. So the water, yes, ice crystals, eating snow, especially if you're stranded someplace, do not do that. If you're going someplace and you have to travel and conditions are dicey at best, allow for 3 times the amount of travel to get there. So for instance, from my house to News 12, it's give or take about 10 minutes. If I was traveling during nasty winter weather, I would allow for 45 minutes to get here. You don't want to be in a rush. You want to allow for accidents, for backups. You want to allow for detours if you have to get around stuff like that. So allow for 3 times the travel on there. Do not be in a rush. Going fast on conditions like this is absolutely not a good idea. It can get you into a big problem. Make certain you check this out again to make certain that you are keeping an eye on what's going on with travel. If there's a snarl of traffic someplace, you don't want to be getting stuck in or behind that. You want to make certain you've got a clear route if at all possible. Make sure you got your headlights on so everybody can see you. That includes when the snow and ice is coming down, so you're visible as far ahead as possible. Traveling in winter weather in snow. Back when I was in Memphis, I lived way out in eastern Shelby County, and it took 20 minutes on a good day to get to the TV station. And from our house in East Memphis to downtown, there were 22 bridges and overpasses if you stayed on the highway and the interstate. If you went through town, there were 3. So the one thing you want to avoid is those exposed roadways, bridges and overpasses that will freeze first and be the slickest. So if you can find a place that, again, plot your route so that you're able to make your way through a particular location without too much in the way of bridges and overpasses. Try to find, and in Chattanooga, this is hard, try to find the most level route possible. Make certain you don't have a lot of ups and downs, especially with very slick roadways out there. Between my house and the TV station, there's some pretty good hills, especially up along Stringer's Ridge, that you have to navigate. And that right there is something you want to try to avoid if at all possible. Now, going to, again, if you're out and about and you get stranded and you can't go any place, emergency flashers and headlights on. Hopefully you've got a full tank of gas to keep you warm. Run the engine 10 minutes an hour to keep warm. Keep that cell phone charged. You never can tell when that might come in handy. Open your vehicle windows, because if that gas, that exhaust, backs up because of blockage into your car, that's carbon monoxide, and that is deadly. So crack the windows and get fresh air running through there on that. If you have an antenna of some sort, make certain you've got that tied onto the antenna, or maybe you have like a yardstick, a meter stick. Tie something on that so that vehicles can see you, especially if visibility is compromised. That is something that will really, really help you get out of a secondary accident. Something to think about on there for that. All these tips I have learned from years before. So again, this is something to really consider if you do have to be traveling out there in the near future. Let's go ahead and take a look here real quick and show you just in general the forecast for the next couple of days to give you an idea as to what we're going to be expecting. For tonight and into, again, tomorrow, we may see, again, some showers taking place Why are you not working here? Pardon me, my computer is being cranky for some reason. Okay, here we go. All right, that's better. So we're expecting everything to make its way through the area. Rain starting tomorrow afternoon and evening. And then as we go toward Thursday, that is where we may see again the potential for more in the way of rain showers. Let me get my cursor onto the screen so you can see that. Friday night, possibility of a combination of winter weather modes out there. And again, this is something that is going to last through Saturday off and on. It may not be all at once. It may come down in dribs and drabs, but that risk of rain, snow, freezing rain, sleet, that combination will start Friday night, go through Saturday into early Sunday, and then taper off as we head toward Monday. Notice this. Again, we'll be above freezing on Friday, only just. We'll be below freezing on Saturday morning, at freezing for most of Saturday. So again, that combination of various types of precipitation may be a bit of a problem. Nikki, you too? Yeah, computers often do that around here, unfortunately. If my chief engineer is watching, I'd like to have a word with you at some point in time. So watching this will be the main thing. And then look at all this going through here, just above freezing, maybe by a degree or two on Sunday. Take a look at the temperature for Monday morning, 14 degrees. That means all of this will be locked in place. So my prediction right now, this is not an advisory. This is not, again, me telling anybody what to do anything here. Again, I learned my lesson many years ago on that, but I will just make a wager that Monday morning, with numbers like this, it's a good possibility that school districts will be either delayed or canceling school for Monday, possibly again for Tuesday. With some of that stuff left over from here, we could be looking at some issues as we go into Monday morning and Tuesday morning. So teachers, administrators, superintendents, you're going to be seeing the potential of some problems out there, I think, especially with numbers like this. So watching the weather, and especially with temperatures in the teens, locking all of this mess in place, we could see travel delays and issues with getting around for several days at a time afterwards. We're going to need some very warm weather on the other side of this storm system to really get us out of that particular mess on there for right now. Guitar PLR 3429 on YouTube. Yes, glad to offer the tips if at all possible. Question, when do you expect to know with certainty what will likely happen? Again, we've given you pretty much an idea as to what's going on here with our live event as to what we may expect. Again, starting Friday in through about Sunday. It's going to be that combination of the problem, again, we've got is with the temperatures. We need to be able to set up and say that the temperatures are, again, going to be that's going to be key in this entire mess going on. So starting Friday evening, snow, sleet, and freezing rain combination moving into the area. And as we go throughout the course of Friday night into Saturday and early Sunday morning, we could be looking, again, it's way too early at this point in time to quote-unquote lock anything down, and I hate using language like this in situations like this. Other TV stations may do their own thing on this and call for exact amounts on this. We give you a range of this issue because these things, and especially in this area of the country, are so kind of volatile in a way. It's more important for us to give you a generalization of what is coming versus down to 1/100th of an inch what we think is going to be happening. This right here, putting it mildly, is a mess. This is one of the worst winter storms that I've seen in the better part of the last, say, 5 to 10 years, somewhere in there, if this comes true. But once again, with winter conditions, all it's going to take is for this freezing line to drop all the way down here, and we get snow like this down towards Chattanooga and into and around the News 12 viewing area. All it's going to take is just a little bit of dry air to come in at the mid-levels, and then all we get is just a dusting of snow, a pellet of sleet, and maybe more rainfall than anything else. Again, if you've never tried winter weather forecasting for yourself, it is one of the best ego puncturing exercise I have ever seen in my entire forecasting career. That was actually one of my senior projects at where I studied for the University of Kansas for my degree in atmospheric science and physics. Again, it is one of those things when you postmortem these storms, it doesn't take much to cause problems in the forecast and how much they vary. That being said, this right here is just a good widespread example as to what's going on. So again, we could see, putting it lightly, a variety of winter weather here, including snow, freezing rain, sleet, and rainfall starting off on Friday and going throughout the course of the next couple of days. So I would say by Friday about I wouldn't wait any more than Friday night at sunset. You might be lucky enough to wait until midnight, maybe. I wouldn't. If it was up to me, I would have everything done about the time frame that the sunset on Friday evening to have everything finished. And then into the weekend, I would have everything ready at home so that I could spend the rest of the weekend hunkered down and watching from the inside out what's going on outside. And I would be prepared, again, for those of you who are more concentrating on the amounts into and around the area, I would be prepared for basically just about anything. Again, with the amount that we have here, I would not be surprised if we had the freezing line go south, enough moisture come north, that a foot of snow, I wouldn't say no to that. I'd say it's not exactly as possible as I think that this model is giving us right now, and the worst of which in the very pink shaded area, we could be looking at a foot of snow from northeast Oklahoma all the way back to around Chesapeake Bay and the D.C. area. It won't take much for that to go just a few hundred miles south. It doesn't take much for these things to change. So for right now, I would say be weather aware, be ready to knock things off, and stay hunkered down as of about Friday evening. And I would say be prepared if possible. A lot of folks, EMTs, doctors, nurses, law enforcement, you're going to have to be out in this regardless of that type of situation. I would say, like Sergeant Phil Esterhouse on Hill Street Blues, let's be careful out there. Let's pay attention to what's going on. Let's not be in a rush. Let's be prepared for the worst scenario. And before you're one of those persons who says, oh, I don't have to worry about anything, nothing bad will happen to me, that's called optimism bias, and that is a very dangerous attitude to have when it comes to winter weather or severe weather. That right there is very close-minded and very narrow vision. I'm telling you this not to scare anybody before anybody starts putting that fear-mongering, oh, we hype the weather. I have never done any such thing. I will never do any such thing. What I'm doing is to try to help you, the viewer, and the listener and or the audience member understand what is possible. This is a threat. This is, again, a potential dangerous situation, and you need to be prepared for this before you get stuck in this. So being weather aware, that is very, very important. So I would say, finally, for right now, number one, stay tuned to News 12 because this will change. Tomorrow's forecast may look totally different. So tomorrow, when we do weather overtime, stay tuned and we'll keep you updated as to what's going on. And again, just be adaptable if at all possible on that. Let me just give you one other thing to take a look at. And this is just a suggestion, especially for those of us out there who have young kids. Our 3-year-old is too young for anything like this, but you may have kids that if you're stuck indoors, this is a great opportunity to learn and to participate in science. You don't have to have a PhD when it comes to helping scientists understand. And radar is great. Radar can sweep out and can give us a lot of information about what is going on. As of right now, again, there is very little happening at this point around the area. Clean sweep, and there's really nothing going on just yet. But when this snow moves in, or whatever it is, as we go into the next couple of days, Friday afterwards, there's an app you can download from the National Severe Storms Laboratory, NSSL, courtesy of NOAA. A lot of people think that all NOAA does is talk about climate change. Those people are what I like to call wrong. And that certain project out there that is saying NOAA is a danger to everybody because they only talk about climate change, they also are what I like to call wrong. NOAA is in the business of public safety, and this is one way of outreaching and outsourcing public safety by participating in citizen science. That's where you, your kids, anybody you know can participate in this. Download the MPing app. It's Meteorological Phenomenon Identification Near the Ground. What does that mean? Radar can detect various phases of precipitation, liquid, solid, or something in between. When it comes to ground truth, what is happening on the ground, that is where you can come in by reporting what is falling on the ground. You can do a very good job of telling meteorologists, researchers, anybody who needs to know this data to say, well, the forecast said this and radar said this. What's happening underneath all of that down toward the surface? If you can tell the researchers what's going on by reporting that potential, again, with the precipitation, what you witness, that information can help create more accurate forecasts in the future. So if you could help with that, that would be wonderful. This MPing app is completely and totally free. Just go to your app store. If you're Apple or otherwise, just search your app store for MPing and download that today. Totally free. Your opportunity to help out. And on the map that you have when you get this app going, you can see people's reports showing up, color-coded, and symbols to show rain, freezing rain, sleet, nothing. That's important too. Where nothing falls, that can help researchers understand that maybe dry air moved in and absorbed the moisture, and therefore nothing came down in a certain location. So again, that would be a great opportunity. So please download the MPing app before the system moves in. You may lose internet connectivity. Keep your cell phones charged, but again, get ready to go with this. Might not be a bad idea to get those power bricks ready to go just in case. I need to plug mine in here in the next couple of days. Once more, before we finish up, again, as of Tuesday evening, there are no advisories for, again, the News 12 viewing area. There's nothing going on at this point, but winter storm watches in effect back toward the Red River Valley, and that could change. This is all due to a Alberta clipper moving through. This up here will not affect us down here. This, on the other hand, this system developing here will be heading our direction in the next couple of days, and we could see again the potential of some big problems as we just delineated and on our discussion. So again, that is something that we really do need to be paying attention there. What we're seeing again for tonight will be completely different in about 24 hours time. So please keep it tuned to News 12. We'll keep you advised as to what's going on. I'll have more tonight at 11. Chip Chapman will have more coming up on the morning show on Wednesday morning starting at 5 a.m. Eastern. And again, thanks to everybody on YouTube for asking questions. I love it when people participate. Spread the word. Let everybody know about our weather blog. We're glad to give more information to you in this format. We've gone a little bit long tonight, almost 45 minutes, but a lot of information to get through, so we want to make certain that everybody, again, is aware and paying attention to everything that is going on across the area. Thanks to our unofficial sponsor, Chloe's Giant Cookies. Chloe is Chloe Sexton from Memphis, my former producer, who now owns her giant cookie company in Memphis. They're about the size of a CD and about as thick as your wrist. I highly recommend the Tipsy George if you've never tried it before. Delicious cookies that you can mail order. Great opportunity to learn more on that, again, at her website, but I really highly recommend it. Chloe, she was just on a national baking show with Gordon Ramsay. She is one of the most straightforward, honest, hardworking people I met while I was in Memphis, and a great opportunity to learn more, and it's nice to unofficially have her as a sponsor on here for that. Any local sponsors, if you'd like to sign up to be our sponsor for Weather Overtime, give our sales department a call here at News 12 in downtown Chattanooga. We'd love to hear from you on that. We'll have a lot more coming up tonight at 11. We'll have even more coming up throughout the day on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, as this situation will change from day to day. So now is the time to make certain you're paying attention to everything going on. We'll keep you informed as best we can here. Live and direct from downtown Chattanooga, Tennessee, I'm Chief Meteorologist Austen Onek on Tuesday evening, January 20th. We'll keep you updated as to what's going on with the forecast as it changes over the next few days, so please be weather aware. Again, we're not trying to panic anybody. We're just trying to keep you informed as to what is happening. And the best thing you can do is to pay attention to what's going on. Be weather aware, be adaptable, and get ready for what could be a dicey weather situation heading our way. Thanks for joining us for Weather Overtime for Tuesday. We'll have a lot more coming up in the next few days, so keep it tuned to News 12 on air and online.